Ah. So can I speak to Mike about it? Yeah. Okay, so you're ready to go? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first grade spring concert. I'm Mr. Milner, the building principal. So nice to see everyone here tonight. The boys and girls and Mrs. Wiggins have been working diligently to put on a great show for you tonight. I can tell already by the smiles on your faces, you're definitely going to enjoy it. Couple things before we get going. Just take a second here. I do this every time. I check mine right before I get in here. Please check your cell phones. Make sure they are either off or on silent, please, so we don't have them going off in the middle of one of the great tunes we're getting ready to hear here in a moment. We'll talk about dismissal here. At the end of the program, the boys and girls are going to exit off the stage and come through the side entrance here the way they came in. I will ask that all of our guests here in the auditorium exit out the main exit back here. I'm going to ask that most of you, there's probably more than one adult here per family, but if just one adult will come over to the side hallway here to pick up the boys and girls, that'd be great because it can be a little crowded if we get more than one adult. The way we're going to line up out here, just so you hear this, so listen for your child's teacher's names. Miss Smalley's group's the first one that's going to exit out. They're going to exit and go down the ramp and be against the wall nearest the cafeteria. They'll be the first group that's there. Next to them coming up the hallway, also next to the cafeteria will be Miss Townsley's class. And then next to them, coming up the hallway, next to the cafeteria, will be Mrs. Moosey's class. And then, flip this around. Then Miss Fryman's class will come down the hallway. They'll be down at the end of the hall, over on this wall, towards the auditorium. Then Mrs. Harris's class will be up the hall on this side. And finally, Mrs. Dunkman's will be on this side, up this way. So please send one adult. Head over. Make sure, adults, if you will, please see the teacher, talk to them, make sure they know that you're getting the child so they know that we're getting everybody to the right adult at the end of the performance. I've got one substitution that Mrs. Wiggins wanted me to announce that's not in your program. In the song My Dog's Bigger Than Your Dog, Kane Ornduff is going to be subbing in and doing a part tonight, so be looking for that when that happens. And are we ready for the pledge? I think at this point, I'll ask if you'd please stand. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll begin the program. Everybody ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
One fine day in early spring, I played a funny trick. Out in the yard behind our house, I planted a lollipop stick. Then every day I watered it well and watched it carefully. I hoped one day that stick would grow to be a lollipop tree. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, what a sight to see. Me and a lollipop, 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 lollipop tree. Then one day I hope to find a very lovely sight. A tree all full of lollipops have grown in the dark of night. I sat beneath that wonderful tree and looked up with a grin. And when I opened up my mouth, the pop would drop right in. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, what a sight to see. Me and a lollipop tree. Winter came and days grew cold as winter days will do. On my tree, my lovely tree, not one little lollipop grew. From every branch an icicle hung, the twigs were bare as bones. But when I broke the icicles off, they turned to ice cream cones. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, what a sight to see. Me and a lollipop, lollipop, lollipop tree. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho, what a sight to see. Me and a lollipop, lollipop, lollipop tree. Montana. I wear a bandana. My spurs are of silver. My pony is gray. While riding the ranges, my luck never changes. With foot in the stirrup, I'll gallop away. When valleys are dusty, my pony is trusty. It lopes through the blizzard, the snow in its ears. The catamount scatter, but what does it matter? My rope is a halter for pig-headed steers. When far from the ranches, I chop the pine branches to heap on my campfire as daylight grows pale. When I have partaken of beans and of bacon, I whistle a merry old song of the trail. My home's in Montana. I wear a bandana. My spurs are of silver. My pony is gray. While riding the ranges, my luck never changes. With foot in the stirrup, I'll gallop away. bigger than your dog. My dog's bigger than yours. My dog's bigger and it bites other dogs. My dog's bigger than yours. My car's faster than your car. My car's faster than yours. My car's faster than bumps other cars. My car's faster than yours. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. I can ride my shoes. I can ride my bike without training wheels, and I am really cool. My dad's tougher than your dad. My dad's tougher than yours. My dad's tougher and he yells louder. My dad's tougher than yours. My mom's older than your mom. My mom's older than yours. She has wrinkles and she has gray hair. My mom's older than yours. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. I can tie my shoes. I can ride my bike without training wheels, and I am really cool. Na, 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 na. my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, a hole. Then fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, fix it. With what shall I fix it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fix it, dear Liza? With what? With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, with straw. But the straw is too long, dear Liza, dear Liza. But the straw is too long, dear Liza, too long. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, cut it. With what shall I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I cut it, dear Liza? With what? With a knife, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a knife, dear Henry, dear Henry, with a knife. But the knife is too dull, dear Liza, dear Liza. But the knife is too dull, dear Liza, too dull. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza? With what? With a whetstone, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a whetstone, dear Henry, dear Henry, with a whetstone. But the stone is too dry, dear Liza, dear Liza. But the stone is too dry, dear Liza, too dry. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry, wet it. With what shall I wet it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I wet it, dear Liza? With what? With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, with water. But with what shall I fetch it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fetch it, dear Liza? With what? With the bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With the bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry, with the bucket. But there's a hole in the bucket.
Can we take just a moment as we get ready to dismiss to give Mrs. Wiggins a round of applause for putting that together? Thank you. So do bear in mind, adults, if you'll exit out here, remember the boys and girls are going to be lining up over here in the side hall. One adult to pick them up. Drive safely. Thank you.